What's up, everybody? Danger Devils was here, and I'm here to give you What If Deku Had an Heaven Have Quirk, part 5 of the second part. Okay, this is where we'll be choosing the class president, the rep and vice rep, as well as the USJ. So I hope you like it. Please like and subscribe and comment down for my 50 subscriber special. Thank you all for getting me this far, and let's begin. If you don't remember what happened, I'm not gonna recap. I just posted the video right before this one, so what's the point? You already know what's gonna happen. You already know what happened. Because if you don't, you have really poor memory, my friend. Really. And I mean really, really poor. Really poor. End of story. Okay. So they come to Izuku drives them to school. He parks. They walk into UA. They go. They go into the classroom. As they sit down, as they are waiting, busy talking to each other, Izuku just makes an ice cap, put it on top of his head, covering his eyes, and goes to sleep. While Shoko leans into his shoulder, lying her head on his shoulder and reading a book. While Mina just looking there and saying, I wish I brought my phone to school. Such a couple. Maybe I should bring it next time. Yeah. And then Aizawa comes in with his dragging mood and says, everybody, good morning. Don't make so much noise. I'm sleep deprived and I don't have time to be wasting my energy on you kids. Okay, today we're gonna be choosing. Today, what we're about to be doing will affect how you live your life, how your years here at UA go from now on. As everyone starts to get, as some people start to get nervous, Bakugo doesn't really care. Momo just thinks that she mustn't overreact, think calmly about what might happen. Shoka, too busy, reading. Izuku just sleeping. Tokiyami just being an edge lord. End of story. Then he says, today we're gonna be choosing your representative and vice rep. As everyone lets out a sigh of relief, knowing that it's actually a normal school activity for once. And then people start to say, hey, choose me. I can do it. Why don't no, choose me. I'll be a great representative. No, choose me. I'll do much greater in this being a representative. Then Ida stands up and says, why don't we do a vote? Why don't we do a vote democratically by voting for who we want? And then he asks Aizawa if that's okay. Aizawa says it's fine. Just get this over with. Just get it over with before the period ends. And he goes into a sleeping bag and goes to sleep. And then so you ask, says, didn't we haven't even spent a whole week with each other. We've just met each other. And wouldn't people just vote for themselves? And then Ida says that's why. People can vote for themselves, but then the more votes you get right now without people knowing you means that they trust you right off the bat, and means that you have a great that means that person has a great leadership to lead the class in doing activities here in school. He says, and then Sui nods at this and says, okay. Then he asks his Momo if she can create paper for everyone in a box they can put their where they can put their where they can put the slips in. Then she does that. Everyone writes down who they want to be class representative, and then Momo and Ida Aizawa gets up. He takes the names. Then he sees them, and then he says, "Izuku Midoriya, Shoka Midoriya, get up here." Then Izuku and Shoka get up there, and then he says Izuku Midoriya is representative with 7 people voting for him, and Shoka Midoriya is vice representative with 5 people voting for her. These are your new representative during your course at UA for your 3 years, he says to them. Izuku says, I'll do everything to my best of my limits and make sure to be a great leader and role model for you to follow during our years here at UA together, he says to them as he bows down a little, and she says, and I promise to go to do the best of my limits to help Izuku with managing the class and providing you with help with anything I can in the best possibility, in the best probable way I can. Thank you for choosing me. She bows a little, and then everyone claps. Then he says, okay. Now let's go back to normal classes. Now they're doing normal classes, English, literature, maths. Then the bell rings, and it's time for break. Yep, break time. That one time at school, which you are just waiting for. You're not even excited to go to school. When you're at school, the one thing you think about is when is break. That's the only thing. You only do the work. You do the work so fast that you so that you don't have to do anything, just to think when is break. You ask your friend with the watch. You ask what's the time. Shows you the time. You go, oh, because you want that break to come. Because when that break comes, you know that there's only a few more periods up until you go home. Break. A curse and a blessing. A blessing giving us a break so that we don't have to do any work. A curse as a reminder we still have school left. Okay, let me stop rambling on about this nonsense. And let's get back to the what if. So, Shoka and Izuku are walking down the hall next to each other and busy talking about how to improve their things. Izuku says that he found a way to make his eyes even denser and more colder than ever, turning it into a purplish pink. If you watch Fairy Tail, you know how Gray's eyes is when he uses Devil Slayer magic. Yeah, that's how his eyes is gonna be. And you know how Nasu's fire was when he uses Fire Dragon King mode. Yeah, that's how Shoka's fire is gonna be like. But then that will only happen during the time when they're training for the sports festival. Okay, as they're walking down, he's saying that he might have figured out a way to make his eyes stronger, and Shoka says that she might have found a way to also make her fire stronger, but not her eyes, because she uses eyes mostly for blocking and not attacking. And then Izuku says, oh, okay. as in they're walking. Momo, Kirishima, Shoji, Uraka, Ida, Tokiyami, Jiro come up to them and ask if they can eat lunch together. They say it's okay. They go, they get their lunch. She gets cold soba while Izuku gets no, she gets hot soba while Izuku gets cold soba. As they go and sit down, as they're busy talking, and then we add one more person there, Mina. Then Mina asks, "So, how's being married?" Then Izuku says, "It's good." Then he eats his cold soba, and then she says, "So, have you done it yet? Have you done anything yet? Have you done anything yet? Or are you engaged? Are you engaged, or are you actually married?" Well, actually married. Got married about a year and a half ago. Oh, okay. Do you live together, or do you do you live separately? We live together. We've been living together for ever since. It was said that we would get married so that we could get to know each other and get closer together. Izuku says while Shuka is just eating her hot soba, and then the stars in her eyes while she's enjoying it. Izuku looks over, it just cracks a little smile. And then during just doing that, just cracking that little smile made every girl turn their faces and look at Izuku while he does that smile. As he looks at Shuka, as all the girls just blush from his smile. And then he goes back to normal, and then the girls turn around. And then Tokiyami says, "So, what is your quirk?" Izuku says, "Wouldn't it be better to first introduce yourself, then end your quirk before you ask someone else that?" And he says, "Excuse me for my rudeness. My name is Tokiyami. You can call me that. My quirk is called Dark Shadow. It lets me create a shadow-like figure from 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 me, and I can use it to attack. The more light it is, the more weaker it is, and the more darkness, the more shadow and dark it is, the more stronger Dark Shadow is." He says, as Izuku says, "Looks like you'll be great for nighttime." And that's actually good, since most big crimes and stuff happen during nighttime. He says, "But I can lose control of Dark Shadow if there's too much darkness." Then says, "Then you just have to work on your control over how much darkness you can keep." He says, as he says, wise words. Okay, so I'll introduce myself. My name is Izuku Midoriya. My quirk is called Absolute Zero. Allows me to manipulate eyes into even making objects, such as when I made cannons, swords. I can even make, as you saw, reclinable chairs when I was resting during the heroes versus villains. And then the other side of my quirk allows me to manipulate water from the sky, from clouds, from ice, from the atmosphere, from even in the human body. I can even create a cloud from water vapor, able to make thunder clouds, and be able to use the water particles inside there to make to actually make lightning. He says that to actually make thunder, he says that in his mind, he wouldn't just speak it out like that. Who tells people that? And then he just talks about how much he can control all water from any place, like the body and that stuff. He doesn't say that thing about him able to make thunder clouds and lightning. You see, he's broken. OP. That's how I like my characters. I'm thinking about making another video, another what if, not for the 50 subscriber special, just another other what if. What if Deku was the light dragon slayer, or which one do you want? Light dragon slayer or or shadow dragon slayer? You choose between those two. Between those two, he'll be neglected, and there'll also be an agency known as Fairy Tail. You can choose between light shadow dragon slayer or shadow light dragon slayer, light white dragon slayer or shadow dragon slayer. You choose between those two if you wanted. I'm still taking up suggestions for my 50 subscriber special, so don't worry about that. Okay, we have to wrap this up very quickly. Then they hear alarm going off, and then they see third years, second years running out, and first years too, because he's seeing the third years running out. Then Izuku pulls a third year, and then he asks what's happening. He says that villains are attacking. This has never happened to me during my 3 years here, he says, as he moves Izuku's hand and runs off again, as Izuku just sees the chaos happening. And then he looks outside the window to see the villain, if there are real villains attacking. He sees that it's the media. Then he creates an ice path to carry Shoto there. Then he asks her to use her fire to catch their attention. She uses her fire to catch their attention, making a wall of flames in front of them, stopping them from evacuating. And then they turn back and see Izuku up on staircases of ice, and he says, "Calm down. It's just the media. And even if it was a villain attack, we have heroes on site. We have All Might for crying out loud. You're even here to be training to become heroes. Why are you running away? You should stand here and fight back. This is what we are here for. Isn't that right? We are here to become heroes, to save those people which are afraid of these villains. So what does that make you when you run away from villains while you know that you've been training for this long to stop them? This is what we've come here for. So next time, don't rush. Think of a way to help the others here. You third years are supposed to be our seniors. You're supposed to be proficient in this, yet you run away, causing the younger students to get worried about what's happening. Also, you second years. You should be ashamed of yourselves. So next time, check your surroundings before you act. The third years and second years look down in shame as Izuku gets down. Shoka and Izuku get down from the post as Izuku turns the stairs into water, compresses it into a small ball, and then crushes it, and then goes back to class. As class 1A is just like, we chose the right person to be class representative. They're all thinking this. And then Aizawa comes in and says, "Okay, everyone, put on your hero suits. We're going for a field trip to the USJ, the unforeseen simulation joint, where you'll be doing rescue training. You'll be accompanied by me, All Might, and another hero who specializes in rescue training, who will be helping you with your rescue training over there," he says, as everyone goes to the locker room to change. And if you have forgotten how Izuku's costume looks like, let me show you right now. Right here is Izuku's costume. Yep, right here. He does just that he doesn't have the mask. Okay, he doesn't have the mask. This is her hero costume, just without the headpiece. Yeah, that's all. Okay. As the Izuku says, get into the bus. It's not in an orderly fashion, so you can sit wherever you want with the people, with your friends, so that you can talk while we're going there. It's just Izuku and Shoko sit next to each other. As Izuku just puts a cap over his, makes an ice cap, puts it over his head, while Shoko leans in and to his shoulder, and she reads a book while Izuku falls asleep. So then everyone's busy talking about what their quirk is. You know what their quirks are, and then it can't. Then Shoka explains that she can manipulate. She has half ice, half hot. She can manipulate ice. Usually, first it was she can only do it on ice on one side of her body and fire on one side of her body. But then she trained hard to be able to use ice and fire on both sides of her body, and she's able to make her fire stronger, but she can't do it. But she can manipulate ice the same way as Izuku can. Then, so you ask what Izuku's quirk is, but then Izuku's sleeping. Then she says that Izuku's sleeping, so that she'll just explain his quirk. She says that his quirk is called Absolute Zero, allows him to manipulate water and ice. He can manipulate ice. He can shape it, make objects. He can make swords, a cannon, even a car out of ice. Unlike her, Zuko trains with his ice and is able to make his ice stronger. And with his water, he can control all forms of water. He can control the water in clouds, the atmosphere, in plants, even in the human body, meaning that he has an unlimited supply of water, meaning that he can do. Also, his body makes water too, so that means he has an unlimited supply of water to use whenever facing an opponent. Then everyone's like, that's why he was able to make Bakugo levitate in the sky, because he was levitate in the building, because he was controlling the water inside his body. He says, yes, humans are made out of 70% water, she says. As Asawa says, we're here. She then tags Izuku. He wakes up. He compresses the ice cap, then puts the wall into his pocket. Says, I'll need you later. He taps his pocket. Then they get out. Then they are met by the hero 13. Uraka is fangirling out about how 13 is her favorite hero, all that. Then 13 gives the speech about telling them about each and every section: landslide, water zone, mountain range, rainforest, earthquake, fire zone, ice zone. Then she comes to talk about how quirks can be dangerous. They can easily kill people, just like her quirk. But then it's how you use your quirk that determines if you are a hero or a villain. And then right then, a purplish black mist portal opens and steps out a guy with hands all over his body, a bird looking thing, and villains. As then Kirishima says, cool, there's even fake villains. And then Mr. Aizawa was like, what? Fake villains? We might be a rich school, but we don't even have that money. We don't have that kind of money to be hiring people and making them and paying for their medical bills because of how they get hurt. He says, those are real villains. He says, 13, watch the kids. As he jumps down, puts his goggles down, and then he starts fighting the villains. And then Izuku says, Ida, go and call for reinforcements. There are too many villains here for Aizawa to handle alone. Then Ida starts to dash off, but right then, Kurogiri comes and says, sorry, I can't. And then Izuku says, I make cannons. He makes two cannons. He fires one at Kurogiri, stumbling him back, and fires one at the door, making it open for Ida to run past. Ida runs to go and get help, while Baku and Kirishima take that opportunity to fight the mist guy. But then the mist guy teleports them away, and then decides to teleport people. Then Izuku says, Shoka, make it quick and hurry up so that we can go and help Mr. Aizawa. She says, as then she falls into a pot, and she says, okay. As then when she's falling, she gets into the mountain range. What she does, you know what he did in the original, just froze the mountain there, making sure that all the villains are not completely frozen, only their heads are sticking out and their whole body is frozen. And then with Izuku, he's in the shipwreck zone. He's falling into the water. Then his foot gently touches the water just once, and the whole thing freezes. And then he stands on the ice and says, villains under. Then he looks down and sees that the villains are frozen. Then he sees that he didn't freeze under the water. He just made the upper part of the water unfrozen. Then he makes a hole, then picks up Mineta and freezes that part which he created the hole, and then he goes to the shipwreck and sees if anyone's there. He asks if everyone's there. Then Floppy says that she's here, but then she's getting knocked out because of how cold it is. Then he quickly takes her around his arms, and also Mineta makes an ice slide, then uses his water, he builds it pressure, and then releases it, and then he goes fast out of the water, and then he makes a slide going down, and then he stops. Right then when he stops, he sees Aizawa about to get beaten by that thing which looks like it's going to do serious damage. So then he makes an ice wall and makes it as hard as he can. But then even though he made it as hard as he can, it still broke through it. Then Shigaraki looks around, then he sees Deku, then he starts to dash there, but he doesn't dash after Deku, dashes after Suyu, and then Izuku then he tries to touch Suyu to disintegrate her. Izuku just makes a wall in front of her and he disintegrates that. He gets Suyu and says that Suyu and Mineta should go up there and go and look if anyone needs help over there. She said, and then she asks what is he gonna do? He says that he's going to try and block that creature from hurting them by using ice walls. Not going to be attacking, to see what they can do, he says. And then she says, okay, just be careful. Then her and Mineta go to the staircase, and then Shoka comes and says, looks like you made it here first. Then he says, okay, we have to stop these villains. Then he goes by Aizawa and then says, Mr. Aizawa, you take a rest. Look at your elbow. It's that guy disintegrated it, and you're badly injured from that thing and it almost killed you right now. Then he makes a cart out of ice, puts him in it, then he makes it go to the stairs where they can take him. And he says, Shoka, you ready? And she says, never better. Then they create ice on the floor. Wait, see? I was just thinking right now while I was doing this, and I was thinking, I've been reading a lot of Fate. I've been reading a lot about I like the series Fate, and especially Archer's Noble Phantasm, you know, Unlimited Blade Works. And I was thinking, what if Izuku made an ice wonderland, just like Infinity Blade Works, with all weapons made out of ice? And whenever those weapons touch whatever, it completely freezes. And I was just thinking about that right now, and I'm like, that's actually cool. Then he says, Choker, go up the stairs. I want to try something out. Then he says, okay, just be safe. And if anything bad goes wrong, just know that I'll come down and help you. He says, okay. Then he says, then he touches the ground with his hand and he kneels. Then he says, then the villains take this an opportunity. He says, in an ice-filled land, with people freezing and dying with the cold. May the people of ice know death, or the people of fire know life. May the ice rage on with the storms. May it come and go as the blizzard goes on. May everything freeze through my path while I make a winter wonderland. And then the whole ground freezes, and then a cloud of ice, a snow cloud, and it starts snowing, and then ice weapons start to appear all over the battlefield. And then Izuku says, I see Wonderland. Then he makes lots of swords, spears, axes, anything you could imagine appear. And then he sent them out. He first dialed them so that they would only pop and not kill. And then he says, fire. They fire out, and whenever they touch, they start freezing people up quickly, and then stop. And then he sees a normal, then he dashes at him, and then says, then he makes a spear. He starts using it to fight the normal, and then he takes a shield, uses it to block the normal's punch. Then he kicks the normal, and then he freezes that part, but then the normal just breaks it, and then it regenerates. Then he says, regeneration, huh? And it didn't seem to get hurt from my kick, so it might have something to do with shock absorption too. Then he thinks, so shock absorption and regeneration, the only way to counter regeneration is to stop that thing which creates regeneration. Then he says, the brain. Then he starts using swords. He cuts off a hand of the normal, slicing down. Then that part freezes. Then he goes behind, then slashes backwards, cuts the other hand, and then he does. Then the normal bends down, breaks the eyes with the floor, and then his arms regenerate. Then he's thinking. Then he does what Avatar Aang did to Ozai. He stops his arms up and blocks him from moving, and then he touches his head and says, may you rest in peace, for my winter ice wonderland has fulfilled its duty. And then he makes ice go through his brain, stopping it, and then the winter wonderland stops, and then he falls down to a knee and starts to punt, because that took a lot of energy, creating snow clouds, creating all those weapons, and freezing the whole battlefield, and freezing all those people, and battling the normal, and freezing the water which he used when he was, and creating the slides and crashing water from all the things. He's become tired. As Shigaraki uses this as an opportunity to come and attack him, Ashoka blasts fire at him, and he goes back, and Kirigiri says, and then All Might busts through the door and says, I am here. And then he's there with Ida, Snipe, Midnight, Vlad, Nezu, Lunch Rush, Power Loader, Ectoplasm, Samantos, all the heroes in UA, and then Snipe shoots at at Shigaraki's arm. He makes a bullet go through his arm. Then Kurkiri says that young master, we have to retreat. Then he says, no fair, no fair, no fair. Cheaters! As he scratches his neck violently as they go away. As the heroes see that most of the villains are already taken out by the by the students when they were separated, and in the center they just see lots and lots of villains just frozen, not not frozen to their heads where they can't breathe, just frozen, and looks like ice weapons touched them and they froze immediately from touch. And then they look down at the then they look down to see Aizawa hurt as well as 13, and look down to the center to see Shoka helping Izuku walk up since he looks very tired. And then say the teachers say that Izuku did well protecting the others as well. And then but when Izuku did Winter Wonderland, okay, that the chant which I did for Winter Wonderland, I just made it up at the spot. I'm gonna make a proper one because I just made it up right there at that second. And okay, so next time when I use Winter Wonderland, it might sound different from what it sounded like here. By the time when Izuku started to use Winter Wonderland, everyone was already there, and one thing was going through their mind: how is he so strong? That's the only thing which was going through their minds. And even now, when he was coming back, the teachers say that he did a good job protecting his fellow students and his teachers from those villains, and he did it without having to kill any villains or anything like that. And then he said that that thing there with the ice spike going through its head, it is manufactured because one of the teachers asked if he killed that person. He said that no, it's not a human. It was manufactured to kill All Might. It had shock absorption and regeneration. And then he said, and super strength. And then he said that it was made to kill All Might, and that the only way to stop regeneration from actually happening is from taking out the source. Since it can regenerate its heart, he's the only thing which could be the source of that regeneration is the brain, which is why there's an ice pick going through its brain. Then he says, Shoka. She says yes. Says, I'm tired now. Then he passes out. And then the teachers ask if he's okay. Then she says, yeah, he's fine. Just how much ice and power would you use, especially Winter Wonderland? Winter Wonderland. What is that? Just check the cameras when you get back to the campus. She says, and then they call an ambulance and the police to come and arrest the ambulance to take the teachers and Izuku to the hospital to check if he's okay. Shoka goes with Izuku and the police to capture the villains. And then Shoka stays there for a little bit before she goes to Izuku, unfreezing them and letting the cops capture them. Well, and all that. Okay, so this is where I'm leaving it off, and I wanted to thank you for watching it, and I hope you have a marvelous time and a great day. And tomorrow I'm going to be posting another video, my 50 subscriber special. I hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and thank you for all the support so far. And comment what you want for my 50 subscriber special, the way he looks, the powers, and the thing about the white Shadow Dragon Slayer and the Shadow Dragon Slayer. You guys choose which one you want. I'm already making that, but that's not the 50 subscriber special. So yeah, that's all I have to say. So from here on out, signing out, you have Danger Devil Josephs signing out. See ya later.